Well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, it's time to march ahead and introduce our keynote speaker for the 2 days of the festival. As we're all very much aware, the Hiranandani Group is today considered as the producer of the best quality housing as well as commercial premises in the country. Apart from construction, the group has diversified into education, horticulture, hospitality, entertainment, and retail. Leadership, brilliance, untiring zest for excellence, and down to earth. These are the words that come to mind when one comes face to face with the managing director of the group. There's also a phrase that goes by labor et constantia, which means with consistent efforts, one can scale great heights. Now, these are the words that sum up his success story. So, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, it's now time to invite the man who has had a huge contribution in changing the face of design world. Please put your hands together for the very inspiring Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani.
Thank you. Good morning, my friends. It's so wonderful to be here again. I think this is the third year that I've been here consistently, or maybe more. So congratulations to the organizer of this festival, and wonderful to get our friends over here, the builder, Mumbai, and all the other wonderful architects who are here, and the lovely materials. And I'm very happy that you can bring a car which Mr. Irani is going to purchase so that I can ride with him. So that's also a wonderful thing to start off with. On a wonderful note that we have to talk about is the fact that the building industry is actually going through a crisis in terms of what is going to happen or what is already happening and what's going wrong and stuff like this. But I think what we as building industry also need to think is, what do we do really as architects and builders in the long run? And what is it that we can contribute to make that real change? The challenge really is, can we do it? Is there a possibility of really making this change? And what is it that we can put up front in order to make the change? In the last couple of years, the municipal corporation has created regulation which prevents me from making any building of the kind which I have made in Powai. So all the elevations, all the creativity, not 1 inch of it has been misused, is now not possible, because it's not possible to include all that into FSI and then work it. But I haven't really heard something strong come from the architects. Yes, the builders have screamed, saying that, we're losing in terms of design. But we as a community do not have that credibility to bring back that issue. That's a problem that we face, because the industry, the real estate developers, and the community of architects and engineers who really actually plan all these buildings and others are not able to forthright go to the government, go to the press and say, hey, this is something which is absolutely wrong. We need to do it. Mr. Kadri made those buildings in the yesteryear, so many beautiful buildings with so much elevation and other things. All that is not permitted today. So we need to really see, how can we bring back creativity in this line? And I think we need to debate at some point of time how we need to do it. Number two, what are the developers up to? Today, yesterday, day before yesterday, I've been interacting with the TV, interacting with the press, interacting with government, interacting with various people in the public forums, both in the social media and otherwise. And my God, the kind of issues that have come up on the table are horrendous. One of our anchors in one of the famous channels, TV channels, she has bought a house in Noida. Now, there are 50,000 apartments being constructed by various developers in Noida, and they're all stuck over there. She just happens to have one of them. And she goes down hammer and tongs every single day against developers in the country, of course, pointing out to the fact that in Noida, this kind of horrendous things have happened, but the public has really seen to it that we are seen with a negative eye. Now, of course, one person can create so much damage, but in reality, 50,000 other people are affected. So it's not just her that is really affected and the pain, but she represents a pain which is there. We had several discussions in Delhi with the government from time to time, and we tried to represent that the regulation that you're bringing about is just not possible to do. It's going to create more problems than it solves, except for one thing, which is positive, which is to bring about transparency in the industry. Everything will be on the net. Everything will be available to everything. Nobody needs to file an RTI in order to get any information against the architect or against the builder. It's all going to be available on the net. So I think from a transparency perspective, I think it's a wonderful thing that has really happened. But having said that, all the other regulations are pointed out that if the carpet area ultimately constructed is going to be 10 inches less than what is mentioned, you can go to jail. And everybody is going to be certifying that. An architect is required to certify, an accountant is required to certify, a developer is required to certify, and all the people who certify these buildings, even if it's 6 inches wrong, are going to be in difficulty, and you could have a criminal action against you. Now, of course, we feel horrible because no other regulation in any other industry is so vindictive. I'm using the word vindictive simply because it's onerous and this kind of thing has never happened before. But many of these things have come about it, but we haven't had the force, both in the building industry or in the professional lobbies, to really be able to counter that issue. So I think that's an issue which we really need to debate. How do we bring about credibility back into the line? The third thing I think is very interesting to see is how can we make the positive change in our country? Look at the kind of development that we need to do. Almost 60% of the development in the next 10 to 20 years is going to be rehab development. 60% of all construction in Mumbai will be rehab development. Rehab could be BDT chawls, rehab will be redevelopment of societies, rehab could be slums, rehab could be the Dharavi area. So we are going to see all those rehabs. And just look at the vertical slums that are getting created with no amenities or low amenities and all this, the quality of life. What is it ultimately that we are going to deliver, but what's the alternative solution to this problem is something which we have not been able to put on the table. So I think it's wonderful, while we will rejoice the festivity that we have today in terms of the Festival of Architecture and the Interior, which is wonderful, and we all really need to do that. But at the back end, we really need to look at all these things and do it. As far as the materials are concerned, I saw a lot of new materials, so congratulations to all the participants who have taken place. Of course, my wonderful architects have continuously been creating wonderful things in terms of what we have done. But we now need to look at India as a whole, Mumbai as a whole, the country and development as a whole. And I think we will need visionaries, which we have in terms of qualifications, visionaries who have got ideas. I know each of you architects have got that. But now you will have to be able to make another force by collectively sitting together as architects and making that change that is necessary to do. Somebody will have to bell the cat in terms of leadership qualities. I wish you the very best. India is going to grow 7% plus in the next couple of years. So building line is going to grow. Materials are going to grow. Exponentially, you're going to have a lot of housing, irrespective of what else I may say. I promise you one thing, that you will have more work in the next couple of years, so you can be happy for that. But what is it that we need to give back to society is something we should debate at some point of time in our lives. Otherwise, our lives will be lost, and we will have left it inferior or poorer for what it is. So congratulations to the organization, congratulations to the architects, to the builder, to the material creators for what India is now being. All the very best to you and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable words. And most importantly, we are truly humbled to have your valuable presence with us this morning.